Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Alisa bin Soidi and we are from Group 1 who would like to present a report on corporate and Sharia governance between three banks. We have divided our report in four main themes, which are corporate governance, Sharia audit and corporate social responsibility. The three Islamic banks that we have chosen are Aagifi Islamic Bank and HSBC Amanah, which are located in Malaysia, and Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, which is located in the United Arab Emirates. Thus, in this video, we would like to discuss the issues that have arisen in the four themes in these three Islamic banks, as well as to suggest recommendations on the issues that have arisen. There are three objectives in doing this term project. First, to identify issues arising in the four main themes mentioned earlier. Next, to further analyze identify issues in these three Islamic banks. And lastly, to give recommendations in solving or improving these issues. Moving on to research methods. Our main source is the annual reports of the three Islamic banks for 2019 and 2020. Following that, we also refer to the Sharia Governance Policy Document 2019 and the Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance 2017. Finally, we use general articles and websites to support our findings.
In corporate governance, the issue that has always been argued is regarding the directors' independence. Firstly, for this issue, we will be focusing on Principle A according to the Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance 2017, which refers to the board leadership and effectiveness. It will cover the board responsibilities, its composition, and remuneration as well. An independent director is a non-executive director who assists a corporation in strengthening its organizational image and governance practices. The appointment of independent directors was supposed to be the biggest reform in corporate governance. From our evaluations, we found out that all the Islamic institutions selected did follow the MCCG regulation on Principle A. Both HSBC and Abu Dhabi consist of 7 directors and 4 of them are independent non-executive directors, while Aagifi Islamic Bank consists of 10 directors and 7 of them are independent non-executive directors on the board. It is aligned with MCCG on the matter that the board should consist of at least half of independent directors. As for the responsibilities, all of them have successfully highlighted what are the directors' roles and responsibilities. We can understand that both countries have similar regulations on disclosing the directors' roles and responsibilities. The reason why it needs to be disclosed is due to preventing the conflict of interest. Regarding the remuneration policy, only HSBC disclosed its policy while Abu Dhabi and Aagifi Islamic Bank did not disclose it in the annual report. However, it is not a big issue because the MCCG only state about the company should have a remuneration committee to provide fair compensation to the directors and senior management. Board composition, we would suggest that the banks should disclose the director's period of service or at least its appointment date so that stakeholders could determine the director's independence. Disclosure of remuneration policy is also important so that the stakeholders can know how much the company pays its directors and if it reflects the performance of the company. There could be a problem if the company's profits are low but the remuneration of the director still increases.
Okay, next is Sharia governance issue. The issue is the segregation of duties in the function of Sharia review and Sharia audit. Generally, the segregation of duties or clear separation between these two functions is a very important theme in the service of assurance as to independently provide the assessment. For the finding, for Aagifi Islamic Bank, their group internal audit function only for the corporate governance purposes but not for the Sharia governance, which their Sharia audit function is under their Sharia committee. There is no statement in the annual report saying who did the Sharia review function and Sharia audit function. For HSBC Islamic Bank, there is no clear separation of those two functions. In addition, the Sharia audit function is not stated under their audit committee responsibilities. In the annual report, not even stated who did the Sharia audit and Sharia review. For Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, stated in their corporate governance structure, the Sharia audit function directly reported to the audit committee of the bank and also reported to the internal Sharia supervisory committee. However, there is no Sharia audit function in their audit committee responsibility, which shows that they outsourced by appointing external auditors to the Sharia audit function for the bank. This was mainly because the lack of expertise in the field. For the recommendations, to cater the lack of expertise, the relevant authority can give Sharia governance training and causes, particularly in the three control roles of Syariah risk management, Syariah review, and Syariah audit to Islamic institutions. Essentially, an institution such as a university may provide a course that focuses solely on these three functions. As a result, accounting students who take this course will have a thorough grasp of how Syariah risk management, Syariah review, and Syariah audit operate in Islamic financial institution. Furthermore, the responsible authority, such as the Syariah Advisory Council, can provide training and workshop on these three functions in Islamic financial institutions to the existing related senior officers to keep them up to date as Islamic financial institutions are constantly evolving.
So we move on to the next part, which is Sharia audit. In this part, I will be explaining about the commitment of dedication that is related to the directors and Sharia committee that are qualified to assess the Sharia compliance services. And the next issue is about the Sharia compliant investment policy. So for the first finding, which is the commitment of dedication, for Affin Islamic Bank, the directors are qualified and have extensive background on Islamic finance to assess Sharia compliances. For example, its CEO, Encik Nazli Khalifa, has strong academic and professional qualifications such as CIIF, and he has gone through Cambridge Islamic Finance Leadership Program. For Affin Bank, Sharia Committee leads their Sharia compliant dealings, and Affin Sharia Committee is legislated under IFSA 2013. So for HSBC Amanah, the directors and Sharia advisors are qualified and have extensive background on Islamic finance to assess Sharia compliances such as the independent non-executive directors. Adil Ahmad was the director and head of global Islamic finance of ANZ Islam Investment Bank in London for 3 consecutive years, and he also provides Islamic banking training programs for banks and financial institutions. So for Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, it is undeniable that their directors have extensive background on global Islamic finance industry and the International Sharia Supervisory Committee to supervise all their Sharia compliant activities. So for the next finding is the Sharia compliant investment policy. For Affin Islamic Bank, HSBC Amanah, and Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, these 3 banks have met the requirement of Sharia compliance. For example, Affin stated that they apply an exclusionary screening approach in their portfolio selection. In fact, they have restriction on tobacco and coal-based generation companies in their investment policy. So next, HSBC Sharia Committee also mentioned that all contracts and dealings entered by them are in accordance with Sharia principles such as the Malaysian Government Islamic Sukuk. So for Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, they have their Sharia compliant investment in equities, sukuk, funds and private equities, which are quoted and unquoted investment that are carried at fair value through profit and loss and fair value through other comprehensive income. So for the recommendation, having a qualified Sharia auditor and a comprehensive, strong and well-functioning Sharia audit control system is crucial in achieving the goal of continuously and sustainably increasing performance. As a result, further accounting and auditing research is needed to capture the effects of Islamic belief and on the operation of Islamic financial institution operating within the Islamic framework or Sharia principle in light of these challenges and issues.
Assalamualaikum, I am Nuruza Kapadir Zaidi and I'm going to continue on the part and the last theme that we are going to discuss, which is corporate social responsibility. The non-existence of specific guidelines for Islamic banks to follow in disclosing their activities has brought up the issue of the extent the banks disclose their corporate sustainability in the annual reports. Affin Islamic is a subsidiary of the local Affin Bank Group, which determines sustainability report is established and managed under the group instead. Affin Islamic practically just disclosed briefly on their sales activities in the annual report. The primary reason is to avoid redundancy and promote cost efficiency, since the subsidiary will be consolidated with the group statement at the end of the year. HSBC Amanah, however, is the first foreign subsidiary Islamic bank in Malaysia which just has independent financial statements, while their CSR programs are disclosed in their first published PBI disclosure in collaboration with the Bank Government Malaysia in 2019. In UAE, the companies have been forced and produced their first sustainability report in 2009, and the content needed in the report was improved yearly since then. Therefore, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank has been disclosing their such activities since 2008 and actively investing in a 5-year sustainability strategy while publishing a detailed sustainability report every year. There are such variances in disclosing these research programs because the CSR framework or guidelines has not been standardized in Malaysia. Therefore, there is a need in regulatory intervention by bank negara Malaysia to make a special CSR framework disclosure for the Islamic banks to follow, which are consistent and comparable to all banking sectors. It also suggested that all 16 Islamic banks in Malaysia should have developed a CSR fund and their own CSR department to encourage the Islamic banks to initiate the sustainability programs by themselves. This can simultaneously give more advantage to the Islamic banks rather than following the method endorsed by their group. And that ends our group's discussion for the presentation. Thank you.